Australia's border security is being breached, but this time we're not talking about asylum seekers. Apples and pears from China, oranges and stone fruit from the US, grapes from Turkey and citrus from New Zealand are rolling in, and the list is about to become much longer. As Linda Kincaid reports, it could spell the end for Australian farmers.
We'll be exporting the best and we'll be importing rubbish.
There's zero profitability, then of course those industries will disappear.
After more than 90 years of protection, it's crunch time for Australia's apple industry.
We have been sold out.
The federal government's Department of Biosecurity has turned its back on Aussie apple growers, overruling century-old quarantine standards. In January, China got the go-ahead to send us cheap imports. Now the Kiwis have been given the green light to enter our market by the end of the year.
They bring with them potential diseases.
The disease most feared, fire blight.
Fire blight's endemic in New Zealand. It's something that we don't have in this country. It's a bacterial disease. It's invisible to the naked eye, and so it's very difficult to find in regular inspections.
49 countries throughout the world have fire blight. We're one of the few that don't.
Not only is the disease a major concern, apple imports will see growers' profits crumble. Chief Executive of AUSBUY, Lynn Wilkinson, says overseas markets are protected.
They subsidise their exports, and our farmers do not get subsidies when we're trying to export, which will effectively wipe out our farmers.
This bombshell report released this week reveals our fruit growers can expect to suffer losses of more than $140 million a year. That's about 30% of their income. Apple imports will increase by 22%, while domestic production will fall by 11%.
A bit more of a punch to the jaw, really, rather than slap in the face.
Cam Stafford is a fifth-generation apple grower.
Our government doesn't help us in the same way as the government helps many of our competitive nations. New Zealand will be able to send apples here at probably 60% less cost. America, I think it's about 28%, and China is about 18%. So we're competing on an uneven field.
Throughout the industry, apple farmers already doing it tough fear they'll be wiped out.
Many of them are saying, "Can I survive?"
Industries will disappear.
John Durham is Managing Director of Apple and Pear Australia.
The organisms that we're concerned about, fire blight, apple leaf curling midge, leaf rollers, European canker.
Already 30% of fruit and 20% of vegetables is foreign. Of the imported fruit, 98% of foreign apples and pears currently comes from China. By next year, New Zealand will take that title. 80% of foreign stone fruit comes from the US, almost 40% of citrus comes from New Zealand, and 57% of imported grapes comes from America. In the past 4 years, imports of fruit and vegetables have climbed by more than 80%. By the end of the year, that's expected to climb even higher. Farmers are urging all of us to look for the label and only buy Australian.
We need urgently to consider the food production in Australia because it is receding. When people really see what's happening, it is absolutely frightening.
In more bad news for growers, companies who make tinned fruit and veggies here are moving their factories offshore. Heinz has confirmed it will close several tomato processing factories, moving to New Zealand, and SPC is also considering closing 2 of its factories. Hundreds of jobs here lost for good.
Do not buy foreign imports. The jobs don't stay here and the skills don't stay here.
Buy Australian is the message. That was Linda Kincaid reporting.